Friends, for finance professionals, the four things are very very important to have a, to get your dream job, right? So first thing is, you must have a very in-depth understanding of technical and financial concepts. Second is, you must have a very expertise in financial modeling. And third one is, you should have a good understanding of advanced Excel functions. And the last one is communication skills. If you have these four things with you, then I'm sure you will definitely get your dream job, right? So today, in this webinar, I will cover the one of the you know key skills that is required, that is financial modeling, and the two major sections of it that will set up a base for you to build a financial model. And whatever I will teach you today in this webinar, this is not something from any books or something. So this is not at all bookish knowledge. It is used by corporates and very much relevant in the corporate world. So please make your notes and you can ask your doubt at the end of the webinar. You can mention your doubts in this chat option and we can discuss at the end of the webinar, right? So please keep your mic on a mute mode, and if you have any doubt we can discuss at the end of the webinar. And yeah, keep a always make a note whatever you want to make regarding this point. And let's start with our first topic. So first topic that we are going to cover is best practices for financial modeling. So before building a financial model, we must focus on key attributes of the financial model and make sure that we build model according to these attributes. Now, what are these attributes, right? What is the purpose of the model, right? So we have to keep all these things in mind, and we have to make sure that our model is completely, in line with the corporate world, right? So the first attribute that every model should have, right? The easy to understand for users. Now, when I say easy to understand for users, you please focus on word users, right? Your users can be your manager, your client, or other one, right? So you should always have keep in mind this thing when you are building any model. What kind of model your manager or client wants? So you should always discuss his or her preference, and then accordingly you have to set up your model, right? So this is very very important to have a clear understanding of your client or manager requirement, and accordingly you can set up your model. So it should be very easy to understand for your users. It should not be complicated, right? So keep it simple as possible, as much as you can. Second attribute is easy to update. So once we prepare a model, we have to update our model, let's say quarterly or yearly, whenever there's a change in business plan or any strategy, right? So if we make it a very complex model, then it would be very difficult to update the model every time, right? So we have to make our model in a such a way that we can update the model very quickly whenever we receive any change or any update, right? So it should be very easy to update. That means it should be flexible enough, right? Third attribute is easy to review. That means accuracy or data integrity. Model is very very complex exercise, as it involves very large functions. We do a lot of analysis and a lot of things are involved, multiple sheets are there, and if you make any mistake, then it is very very difficult to identify that particular mistakes, right? So that's why it's very very important that you make model in a very simple and effective way. And for that you need to have this key attribute, that is easy to review. How can you make this model easy to review, right? So that we can discuss again in the second part. But you must have a lot of controls and checks that can clearly show that everything is in line or everything is matching, right? So you must have these control and checks to make sure that model is completely correct and everything is perfectly linked, right? So these are the three attributes that we must have in the model and to figure out where so everything is working fine, right? Now, once we know these attributes for the financial model, now how we can start to structure the model so that we can make sure that our model have all these attributes. So the first step to make sure that model have all attributes is to structure the model, right? So once you are in the once you had a discussion with your manager or client, right? And then accordingly you can set up your model structure. Basically a model has three sections: input sections, processing section, and output. If you look at this screen of this model, right, you can see there are three input sheets. So this is a model. Basically I just started from this model itself. So there are three input sheet: input general sheet, input is, input bs, and then three processing sheets. So these are the outcome sheet, processing sheet, where we have income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. And then later we have three output sheets. So this is a VEC table, this is a DCF analysis, and this is final output tables that we paste in the report. So we have divided this model into three parts. Now in input sheets we will have all inputs. So in future, if you receive any update on the model, then you just go to input sheets and you change the particular assumptions. Then everything will change in the model, right? So everything is linked. So that's why you always need to separate your input versus your output files, right? So that's why we have created these input sheets, output processing sheet, and output sheet. Okay, so but this is a typically a structure that generally a model has, but this can be changed. Like in this example I have three input sheet. You can club all these three into one sheet. Similarly all processing sheet you can club it in one sheet, and similarly in these output files as well. But it depends the your client or your user's requirement. So you have to plan your model accordingly. But always keep in mind this thing: you need to have separate input sheet so that it is very easy to you for you to understand or to change or to update any assumption that you want to make, right? Yeah. So this is about the setting of a structure. In input sheet we will have all the inputs like your historical statements. So these are your historical numbers, and then all the assumption for your forecasting for the future plans, right? Similarly in balance sheet, this is your historical balance sheet, and this is a forecast, and these are the forecasting assumptions. And in these processing and output files, you will not see any input number. These are all linked with input sheets, right? So these are all input sheet linked. So there is no input. So you need to separate input versus your output files. Yeah. So once we have set up the structure, now it is very important to format each and every sheet in this of this design or defined manner, right? Therefore, we must follow a standard color code which is globally used by all firms. So if you look at this input general sheet where we have defined the color code for this model, and this is a very standard color code that is used by all corporates. So for example, hard coded numbers should be highlighted in blue font. Similarly, like in formulas where we have a formula, that should be in black font. And if we have any assumption for forecast, then it should be highlighted in light filled cell and with black font. So this is a typical color code that is used by all corporates, and you can always follow this color code. This is a standard and globally used color code. Now I'll just quickly go through this. Like as I said, hard coded numbers in blue font. So if you go to input sheet, see these are the hard coded numbers. So then you will see these are the in blue font. Now, as I said, formula should be in black font. So these are the black fonts cells, and these see this is a formula, and it's completely in black font. Now the third color code format was for any forecasting assumption, it should be in light blue cells with black font. See, this is light blue cell, and this is assumption to forecast the business plan, to forecast the income statement. So these assumptions are in light blue cells with black font. So you should always, design, set up your color code in the beginning, and you should be consistent. You should not use any other color in any formatting, right? So define your color and then set up your model accordingly. Once we define the color code, we focus on sheet formatting. So this is a model formatting. We have done it color code. Now it's time for sheet formatting. So within sheet formatting, first thing is same row and column concept. What do you mean by this same row and column? So if you look at, you know, each and every sheet, IS, it is starting from B4, right? And it's ending at N4. So starting in B4 cell and ending column is N. And if you see all sheets, you will have a similar structure. Starting point like balance sheet input B4, ending column N. Similarly, this processing sheet starting B4 and ending is column N. So similar sheets are set up in the same structure. So it should start from the same cell in each and every sheet, and it should also end at the same column. So your rows, columns are consistent. So always follow this approach. Second is you should always separate your historical and forecast as numbers so that it is clearly visible for users to identify which are the historical number and which are the planned or forecasting number, right? So if you can go to any IS, right? So I have defined, by this line, after this line border we have these 13 to 20, these are the forecasting number, and we have also mentioned this P, right? P indicates is planned and A indicate is actual. So you can identify like actual, these are the actual numbers and these are the planned number or forecasted number or budgeted numbers, right? And so you can separate by this so that it is clearly visible for users to know whether which are historical numbers and which are planned numbers. And the third point is highlighting the key parameters for each and every statement. So when I say key parameters, right? So if you look at, what are the key parameters when I talk about income statement? It's like revenue is the first thing. That is the main important parameter for an income statement. So it should be clearly highlighted. So if you look at this is the net revenue. So it's highlighted, right? Similarly, like all the margin should be highlighted, major cost, right? So this is a concise processing income statement. See, net revenue, operating expenses, EBITDA margin, EBITDA, EBIT, and profit after tax. So these are all highlighted with this borderline. So you should always highlight your key metrics, key financial metrics, or key KPIs in each and every model. And your all percentage numbers should be in italics. So if you look at all percentage numbers, see these all numbers are in italics. So you should always follow this process to keep your percentage number in italics. Yeah. So this was about the sheet formatting, and now we will talk about the formula buildup. So your formula should be consistent and it should be as simple as possible, right? And the first thing is comes is single formula in a row. When I say about single formula in a row, that means you can't have multiple formulas in the same row, because if you drag any particular formula in that row, then it will not work. So always keep one formula in one row. So for example, if you look at this is linked with input is this seed G5, right? So this is linked with row number 5. Then if you look at every line item is linked with row number 5. So if you drag this cell here, so it will not change. It is very easy to update, right? So always keep one formula in one row, and this is widely accepted and widely used and wide and highly appreciated, these kind of formatting process. Second point is very important, that is the convention, right? Number reportings. So there are different ways of reporting numbers. You can report all your incomes or expenses in positive number, and you can make all changes in your formula like sum formula, right? And there's another convention is you can report all your income in positive number and all your expenses in negative number, right? So this is widely recommended and widely used, and that's why we also recommend this process of reporting numbers or finalizing your income statement, balance sheet, or cash flow. So when I say income positive and expense negative, right? So if you look at this income statement here, these are the incomes for the company. So I have reported this in positive number. This is excise duty that company has to pay to government. So that's why it's an expense, and I have reported this in negative number. Similarly, these are the costs. I have reported this in negative numbers, and these are EBITDA, so this is a profit number. So all your expenses should be in negative sign, and your all income should be in positive sign. The ultimate benefit of this process is you won't make mistakes or plus or minus, where should be used plus or minus, right? So see, it's all, when you apply formula, some formula, it's always plus. You should not see any minus, like see this formula plus, right? See this plus. So everywhere it's some formula. There's no change in plus minus, so that there's no doubt about the confusion or anything. So it's very simple, and it will make your model error free. So please always follow this convention of reporting numbers, right? And next point is no hard code numbers in formula. So when you apply any formula, when you structure your formula, always follow this. Never ever use any hard coded number in formula. I have seen sometimes, because in during my corporate experience, I see when people join and they work, they use some hard coded numbers. Let's say to convert, to decide to to derive this discount factor for discounting cash flows, they use 1, then 2, then 3, right, instead of using any cell reference. So this is wrong. If you change any assumption, then it will not update in future. So always never ever use this hard coded number in any formula. Yep. And there are a couple of other points which you can also consider while setting up your model is, you know we forecast each and every line item of income statement and balance sheet, right? You should always have a schedule for each and every line item, whether it's you're going to forecast this number or not, right? Because this will make your model very consistent, and there should not be any doubt or error or something. So always forecast each and every line item. So if you look at this is income statement balance sheet, I have all schedules in this input is and input bs, whether it's going to change in future or not, right? So if you look at income statement or balance sheet, all numbers are linked with input sheets. So this is a balance sheet. If you look at, just focus on the formula, it's all linked with input sheet. See, this is cash. So cash come from the cash flow statement. This is a balancing number, right? So it will come from cash flow statement. See, this every number is linked with input sheet, right? So I have schedule for each and every line item. So this is what I suggest also, when you start preparing any model, always have schedule for each and every line item of income statement and balance sheet. And another thing that I would suggest is, so when you have this forecasting thing, and you take certain assumptions, so always make a note, what is the base for this assumption, what is the rationale. So always write your rationale or assumptions here. On that basis you have assumed these numbers, so that it is very easy for your users to understand what is the base for this forecasting. So write, always write your in a simple, in a quick note, the key rationale behind this forecasting number, right? So always make a notes section, notes column, and you can write or mention your assumption rationale, right? So this is about the first topic that we have covered is best practices for financial modeling. So just to summarize, this section is, first thing we covered is attributes of the financial model, and the three key attributes are easy to understand for users, so model should be easy to understand. Second one is easy to update, that model should be flexible, so that we can update the model each and every time when there's any change in business plan or any assumption. And third one is easy to review, so it should be there should be a lot of controls and checks, so that we can review the model easily. So in this model I can see you, I have applied couple of checks. So if you go to this balance sheet, and here these are the checks. So this check is whether balance sheet is matching or not, like assets should be equal to liability plus equity. So if you look at this number is matching, so there's no error. Second one is cash check. You cannot have a negative cash in your balance sheet, you must have a positive cash, so then only company can survive, right? So cash should be positive. So these two checks I have implemented, but there are many checks that we can implement, so that we can make sure that model is perfectly linked, right? And then we have to structure our model into three sections. One is input, processing, and output sheets, and then model formatting, and then formula builder. So these are the points that we have covered in best practices for financial modeling.